Okay, now we're going to do this. Okay, let's look at the table of contents on this book. It's called Hubble, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What should we look? How do we prioritize information on this first page?
We try to find out information that kind of skimming.
When I tell you to read the introduction and conclusion, what can you get from that? Because tests always ask you something about the author. What do they ask you? What was the
author's main intention by writing this book?
Right. What was the author's main idea? What did the author mainly want you to learn about? And how do you figure that out? Read the introduction and conclusion. Okay? And the table of contents is a good way to do. So here's the introduction. And let's read the introduction. Look into the sky on a clear night. The multitude of stars is what the Hubble Space Telescope sees all the time. Only better. The Hubble telescope doesn't sit on the ground. It orbits Earth, circling high above the planet's atmosphere.
Can the telescope go into the atmosphere?
We put it in space. So isn't that a question right now? You're going, is anyone going, why did we put a telescope in space right now?
No. So we can learn more about space and see farther into space?
The atmosphere is very important to life on Earth, but the atmosphere causes problems for telescopes. It blocks out some kinds of light, which makes stars look as though they twinkle. Astronomers solved the problem of having to look through the atmosphere to study objects in space by launching the Hubble Space Telescope. Because the Hubble is outside the atmosphere, it can see objects more clearly. Yes. So we've looked at that, and now let's do a couple things before we go to the back. Let's go here.
I don't get why we're highlighting those. Oh, I know.
Someone just asked, or was thinking, well, why put it in space? Why not just put it on a mountain? What does the atmosphere do? It blocks certain types of light. And the other thing is this. Have you ever put in your hands, looked at a fish aquarium? And you put your hand on one side and it looks like your hand's in a different place than when you pushed it? Right. That's light refracts based on some moisture and all other kinds of things that bend light. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Yes. Yes. So the atmosphere can do that too because there's moisture in the atmosphere. We know that anyway. Okay. So the next thing we want to read is the what? The conclusion. Okay.
Do you want us to write this stuff through highlights? Do you have to highlight if you're writing?
What I'm thinking is this. You're definitely going to have a quiz on this book. Highlighting wouldn't be a bad thing to do. Taking your notes from the highlighting will help you when you make your web page on space.
So you want us to write down the stuff we highlighted?
But you know what? You can't copy exactly what we highlighted because what's that called?
Copyright.
Plagiarism and copyright infringement. So using kid language first, and another, your own words will be faster anyway. Okay. Yes. Yes, Aaron.
Because what they do is atmosphere causes a problem for telescopes to block out some kind of light, which makes the stars look like how they twinkle. But if you use your language, you can do atmosphere causes a problem so that it makes stars not look like what they actually look.
Yes. Then they might not look out.
Makes them look like less bright, and you can put that instead of all those wrong words.
I want to make this go. Oh. Oh, I don't want to do that. I want to go this way. How do I go down?
I have no idea. Use the arrows. Use the arrows.
These arrows?
No.
These definitely do not work.
Press 5.
Oh, I take that back. Thank you. Okay. Let's start skimming. And something that people forget all the time, as you're skimming towards the back, be looking at some pictures and some, what are the things called underneath the word? Captions. Be honest, how many people sometimes skip captions? Okay, sometimes. I'm telling you. Does anybody remember what I told you about captions and authors? It has to do with money a little bit. It costs money to get a good picture in here. So do they put pictures in just for fun? No, it costs them money to use a picture. So if they spent money putting a picture in, it must be important. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because to get a picture of this, you have to have the rights of whoever took the picture. If they took the picture, then they own the rights. But it's unlikely that the author of this book was in space taking this picture right here. Okay.
The publisher.
Yeah, that's something. Okay, Hubble's New Eyes. And sometimes people kind of skim these things. Okay, so let's just skim them. Hubble's New Eyes. Okay, let's keep going. New star forms from hydrogen gas and dust and the Carina Nebula. Did we see that in one of our videos, nebula? Okay, so nebulas are where stars are born. Let's keep going. Skimming. Different kinds of energy. Wasn't this in our science book, this part right here?
It's the light spectrum.
The types of, wasn't this that we can see? And this says, and I just skimmed this, I saw most types of telescopes, and we know that there are a few different kinds. What are they? There's a reflective, refracting, and what's the ones that can really get things from out space? And we listen for aliens with it. Radio telescopes, right?
Hey, I need two.
Here's infrared light. Does anybody remember we looked into that one video I showed you where Hubble looked at that tiny piece of sky and it saw all those dots, and each one of those dots was a what? A galaxy. It wasn't even a star. Right. So we're still skimming. Okay, let me just hit undo on these things. Okay. Skimming. Okay, Cannon. There we go. Okay, the Hubble Space Telescope took this image of a double cluster in one of our neighboring galaxies.
Mr. What's a double cluster?
It probably has something to do with a cluster of galaxies. Oh, it says here. That's a question that you would have to read to do, but it's good that you're asking a question as you skim. Oh, this is fun to read. Everyone likes to read about black holes, and there's something about it. And this, look at this. It says, look at this part. We did this when we were reading in our science book. Yellow stars are young, red stars are older, and blue stars are the oldest. And we knew that from the pictures that we were drawing. If information's changed, which in science it does, how can you tell which one's more reliable?
The one newest.
And think about it. Okay, you just said it, newest. This is newer than the science book, so we probably want to go with this.
To me, they look like I see like a person. Like
Phoenix, Arizona, like 1980.
Mr. Canada, I can see like a person.
Can you see shapes?
Yeah, I can see a person kind of.
See pattern recognition.
Oh, Stefan's quintet. Let's look at this. The five stars in Stefan's quintet appear to be fighting. The Hubble's and this catches my. Doesn't this kind of capture your interest? How can galaxies be fighting? Stars are pulling on each other and have grown loops and tails instead of the normal rounded shape of stars. It's a tug of war. That's going to be fun to read. Okay. This is actually a really interesting book. If you're skimming it, it's looking really good. That's beautiful. Look at that.
That's a butterfly. To me, that looks like those doesn't it look like a fish? How do you make a fish?
It looks like a butterfly. That's what I see.
Like the eye and the mouth.
You know what? A bunch of people don't see anything. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's good. An exploding star left behind this massive cloud of dust.
That looks like a face. See?
It does look like a face.
Skip one of the captions. Skip one of the captions.
This one?
See a butterfly nebula is a fiery giant star in its center.
Oh, that looks like a bigger fish. You can see the hair.
That looks like Pac-Man to me a little bit.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, if you look at it, there's Pac-Man and there's the girl.
Okay, here's the history of the space telescope. Oh, what kind of telescope is a space telescope? It's a reflecting or refracting? Reflecting. It's a giant mirror. Look, it says telescope's main mirror assembly. Look at it. And why do you think they're dressed like that?
So they don't damage it.
Because anybody who wear glasses, you know that every single day you have to wipe them off because there's some kind of debris on it. It says, here we go, something about in 1993 they flew the space. They had to repair it. I remember when that happened before you were born.
What happened? Why they
That's a good question. If they had to repair it, that's a question you'd be asking yourself while you read.
Why they need to repair it? Because it can get damaged in space. Exactly. It looks like a big
Okay. Oh, I just read about this. It's called the Webb.
Oh, I heard about that.
Isn't this called the Webb telescope?
Yeah, the James Webb Space Telescope.
There it is. I saw a guy on TV. He does a show called Cosmos. His name is. What's his name? He's got something Tyson. Yeah, deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, he's a really cool scientist. He's like a rock star scientist. Okay, so we're going to talk about the next really cool is going to be the James Webb Space Telescope.
It looks like a beehive.
The new telescope is expected. Oh, here. I think this is a conclusion which we've been skimming towards. The new telescope is expected to launch in 2014. Now, it's bigger than the. Let's go ahead and highlight that. The new telescope is expected to be, and it's going to be bigger than the Hubble and lighter.
The whole JW. How can it be bigger but lighter? It's made out of different materials. Carbon fiber.
Once there, it will begin its job of taking a long, deep look at our universe. I'm really glad we pulled this book up because the pictures really help. In black and white, they're not very impressive, but these are just
Some of them look pretty
Rainbow.
amazing.
I like that one right there.
It's easier to see there than it is in I like the top right corner.
Just gotta remember, click there.
Okay, now we skim the glossary a little bit. Okay. Can we answer the question now, why? What does the author want you to learn from the book? Now you have a purpose. We read the introduction, and then we skimmed through it, stopping at captions and pictures, asking questions. Then we got to the end, read the end or the conclusion. What does the author want you to think about? Make the main connections. Philip? Excellent. Also, what was the cool thing? I was telling you that why I think looking at the sky is really neat. Every time you look at a star in the sky, it's like doing what? You're looking back in time. So a telescope can be like a time machine because the light it takes, the closest star to us besides our sun.
It's like 4 light years away.
So the way that star looks like us today is light that left there how many years ago? 4 years ago.
If it were to explode that year,
Right. Let's highlight some words here that we may not know.
I know what astronomers and
What are some words in here that we should probably go slower when we come across? Do we know astronomers and atmosphere? We're cool with that, right? Black holes, we kind of know, right? Kinda.
It's basically just two things.
complex
Density.
It's
like bigger.
It's matter.
It's the
I think this might be something that when you come to it, do you slow down a little bit?
I know what ejector means. It means pushing it off and getting rid of it.
Right. What are some other things that we should slow down when we get to?
I know what a glitch is. Oh, I know what a glitch is. I know what a glitch is. I like glitches.
It's actually really
A glitch is when something doesn't work.
There's a glitch in games.
What are other words on the second column that we'd probably get?
Infrared light.
Infrared light. Did I show you that trick about infrared light?
No.
You use something probably every day that has infrared light. It's on when you watch TV. It's your remote. Didn't I tell you the trick? When you look at an infrared light, you can't see if it's working. Did I tell you the trick of telling if it's working or not? You use your cell phone camera. I'll show you the. Let me get this. I'll stop and I'll show you what to do with this.